Hi, Ray here. I'm going to be making a series of short videos. By short, I mean 6, 7 minutes long. Maybe some of the longer ones will be 10 minutes. This one will probably be about 10 minutes because I'm having to introduce the series here as well as give the actual video that I'm doing for today. And I'll be endeavoring to get these out um, about every day, every other day, something like that. So a series of short videos, um, under 10 minutes long, coming out every day, every couple of days. And the videos are going to be about sharing what I've gleaned, learned, experienced, realized from being on the spiritual path really more than 60 years. And so I want to make these videos to share to share what I have gleaned with other people, because if all of this dies with me, then it won't do anybody any good. And so and it's sharing in this format, short video format, because that seems to be what works these days, what people are looking for. Sharing in longer form, if people are not open to that, then it's like sharing all of this all of this 60 years worth of of gleanings in a language that no one can understand. And that doesn't do anyone any good. So I want to share it in a language that people can understand, in the format that works in this modern day and age. So today's video is going to be about what is true prayer. What is true prayer? So by true prayer, I don't mean that kind of, uh, you know, um, empty and meaningless exercise. Say, for example, you get a huge unexpected bill in the mail, and it's way more than you have money for, and you freak out, and you like throw up a prayer to God, like an imaginary conversation in your head, like a quick one-liner. Dear God, please give me the money for this, and I promise I won't look at any porn sites anymore. Or, and then that doesn't work, and a couple of days later you up the ante. Dear God, please give me the money I need for this bill, and I promise I'll go to church every Sunday. And so this is like um, a meaningless exercise, and um, and it's not true prayer. It's not even being spoken in a language that God understands or even hears or is even aware of. God is truth and reality, and you're not coming from a place of truth and reality when you're engaged in this kind of bargaining with God, as though God's some kind of celestial shopkeeper that you have to haggle with to get what you need. That's not true prayer. And even a more formalized kind of prayer, where you go to church on Sunday, and you're in there in a room full of people, uh, and all of them are engaged in this same kind of vapid, meaningless exercise that has no grounding in true, heartfelt communication. And you think that if you just gather all these empty, meaningless, vapid prayers together in one place, that somehow makes them more powerful. No, it's just a collection of weak, anemic, meaningless words, and they don't become more powerful by being grouped together. That's not true prayer. True prayer, even if you go through the uh, go through the exercise of like formally getting down on your knees, a lot of people think that that makes it true prayer because you're you're showing respect to God. You're getting down on your knees before God, acknowledging God as greater than you, and you're getting down on your knees, and that somehow turns it into true prayer, even though it's still vapid and weak and meaningless and anemic because you got down on your knees. That's not true prayer, because God doesn't need you on your knees. God doesn't need your respect. God doesn't feel respected or offended, insulted, or anything like that. God sees only perfection and love, and anything other than that is just a meaningless exercise, because it's not grounded in truth, it's not grounded in reality, and God is truth, God is reality. So that's not true prayer. But true prayer does involve getting down on your knees, because when you get down on your knees, not because you chose to get down on your knees, but because your knees have collapsed out from under you. When your knees have buckled, literally buckling under you, because you have come to a full realization of the inherent hopelessness of your situation, which is the human condition, which is your condition. When you fully come to terms with a full knowledge and realization of how hopeless and desperate your situation is, not just because you can't pay some bill, but because all of your efforts to make for yourself a meaningful life, let alone a happy life, have failed. And they will always fail. And in the end, you will die. And what very little you might have managed to create will be forgotten by the sands of time in a decade or two. When your knees, when you fully realize this, when you fully come to terms with this, when you really see this, you won't get down on your knees as a voluntary active action because you want to show respect to God or adhere to some ritualistic church formula. You'll be on your knees because your knees will simply buckle. They will just collapse. Your body will not be able to maintain the fiction of you standing on your own 2 feet. When you fully realize this on an emotional level, your knees just buckle. If you've never experienced that, if you've never been through the dark night of the soul where your knees simply collapse out from under you, you've never had true prayer. When your knees collapse out from under you, from your inherent realization of the hopelessness and meaninglessness of your situation, of your condition, of the human condition in general, then that is the beginning of true prayer. But not because you chose to do it, because you had no choice. It's true prayer because you had no choice. It's true prayer because finally you're not trying to run your life yourself. You've fired yourself as your own teacher. You've given up. You've realized that you don't know what the hell you're doing. And when you are in that place, you become aware of the presence of God. You become aware of the fact that God has always been standing there right next to you, showering you with gifts and blessings, but you couldn't receive them because you weren't aware of the presence of God, because you were so focused on yourself. You were so focused on trying to run your life yourself. You were so focused on worshiping yourself. You made yourself your God. You were going to do everything. You were going to fix everything. You were going to take care of everything. Your ego sat on the throne of God, and you worshiped that ego. So you could not hear God. You could not see God. You could not feel the presence of God. You could not receive the unending stream of gifts and blessings and help that God was showering you with. It was there all the time, but you weren't aware of it. As one Zen master said, yes, that's the truth, but a fat lot of good it does you if you can't see it. So true prayer is when you begin to commune with God because you have realized that your substitution for God was weak, vapid, anemic, pointless, incompetent, and incapable. And you stop worshiping the false god of your ego. And then it's not like even God needs you to worship God. It's simply that now you can hear God. Now you can feel God. Now you can sense God. Now you can commune with God, communicate with God. Now you can have true prayer. You can engage in true prayer. You know, it's funny. It's not like you are doing anything specific to have true prayer. It's just that you stop with the false prayer that blocks everything else out. Now, when you quit making so much unnecessary noise, praying to your false god of your ego, in the silence, you are accessible to God. And that is the foundation of true prayer. So I hope this has been helpful to you. This one might have been a little over 10 minutes, but we got the intro to the series out of the way. And so I hope you benefit from this and come back every day, every couple of days, and check the latest addition to this series of short videos where I'm going to be sharing what I've learned from a really intense spiritual life of more than 60 years. Okay, that's it. See you next time. Love you all.